Hi guys, I will continue to solve the questions in the review session. The question 4 is this one. Y second prime minus 5y prime plus 6y, which is equal 4 cosine t. The process is same. First I need to find out the homogeneous part of the solution. To do that, I'm going to need the auxiliary equation. R squared minus 5r plus 6, which is equal 0. If I factor this out, r minus 3, r minus 2, and then I have two distinct roots, r1 is equal to 3, and then r2 is equal to 2. And my homogeneous part of the solution is going to be equal c1 e to the 3t, and then c2 e to the 2t, right? I need to combine the exponential functions linearly. I'm going to choose my particular solution in this way. I'm going to write my extra term there. Since I don't have any other functions besides the trigonometric function, it is fine to have just a cosine t and plus b sine t type of expression on the right hand side. But still I need to determine what the s is going to be. If you look at the alpha plus I beta, which is equal 0 minus plus I. Alpha is 0 since I don't have any exponential term on the right hand side, but the beta is going to be 1 since I just have the cosine t on the right hand side. That's why beta is going to be 1. But look at it, these are not the roots of my auxiliary equation. Since I found my auxiliary equation roots, one of them is 3, the other one is 2, they're not equal each other. That's why s is going to be 0. I don't need an extra term. If I don't need an extra term, my particular solution form is going to be equal a cosine t plus b sine t. I'm going to need the derivatives, so negative a sine t plus b cosine t. I need the second derivative as well, by p second prime negative a cosine t minus b sine t. I also need the coefficients. My coefficients was positive 6 and negative 5, which is going to be positive 5, and then it's going to make this negative 5. If I add all these terms, on the left hand side, I'm going to have my differential equation. On the right hand side, look at that, I have cosine t term here, cosine t term, and then cosine t term, and then sine t terms are here, right? So I have common terms, I can group them. For the cosine t, I have the 6a, and then another cosine t, I have negative 5b, another cosine t, I have negative a. This is for the cosine part. Plus, for the sine part, I have 6b, and in the second line, I have negative 5b, and then in the third line, oh, my bad, right? In the second line, I have 5a. In the second line, I have 5a, and then in the third line, I have negative b, which is sine t, right? Let me add all these coefficients. And then do I know what it is equal to? Yes, I know that, right? That should be equal to 4 cosine t. I had the 4 cosine t. Let me put it here so that I can remember easily. So this part is going to be equal, guys, 5a minus 5b. It should be equal, right, the cosine term as you see here. Cosines will be equal to each other. That's why this is equal to 4. But I don't have any sine term, which, as you know, there's a hidden sine t. There's a 0. It's a 0. And this part is going to be equal 5b minus 5a, which is 0. So if you solve these, a is going to be equal 2 over 5, and then b is going to be equal negative 2 over 5. I'm gonna leave, okay, to solve this linear system of equation. So at the end of the day, my yp is going to be equal 2 over 5 cosine t minus 2 over 5 sine t, and my homogeneous part of the solution was equal c1 e to the 2t plus c2 e to the 3t, right? And to get the general solution, since I was asked for the general solution is going to be equal homogeneous part plus the particular solution. Okay? Let's look at another example. Question 5 is this one. Second prime minus 7y prime plus 6y, which is equal to cosine t e to the 4t, right? I will do the same process, guys. First, auxiliary equation, r squared minus 7r plus 6, which is equal to 0, and r minus 6, r minus 1, which is equal to 0. And then my root is going to be equal, r going to be equal, r1 is equal to 6, and then r2 is equal to 1. From these roots, I can write my homogeneous part of the solution, c1 e to the 6t plus c2 e to the t. And then I can choose my particular solution. What I have on the right hand side, I have an exponential function. Also, I have a trigonometric function. That's why, right? I need to have them for the right hand side. E to the 4t times a cosine t plus b sine t. And also, I'm asking, right, if I need this extra term t to the s. I need to decide if I need that extra term. How? First of all, since I had, right, e to the 4t times cosine beta t, my alpha is equal 4, and then my beta is equal 1. That is why alpha plus I beta is going to be equal 4 plus I or minus I. As you see, these are not equal any of, right, the auxiliary equation roots. That is why I don't need an extra term. So I don't need an extra term. S is 0 here. So I can just choose my particular solution in this way. E to the 4t a times cosine t plus b times sine t. Take the derivative of this expression, 4e to the 4t times a cosine t plus b sine t plus e to the 4t negative a sine t plus b cosine t. Let me write here. The second prime is going to be equal 16e to the 4t times a cosine t plus b sine t plus 4e to the 4t a cosine, sorry, we need to take the derivative, right, the cosine t, which is equal to negative sine t, negative sine t plus b cosine t. And then for the second term here, look at it. First, I'm going to start taking the derivative of e to the 4t, which is equal 4e to the 4t, and then I'm going to keep same the rest, right? It is equal negative a sine t plus b cosine t. And the last term is going to be the derivative of those trigonometric function, e to the 4t times negative a cosine t plus minus, sorry, this is minus, oops, please bear with me, minus b sine t. I will not go through the steps, okay, which we can group the A's and then B's. Please do it on your own, guys, since it is not, it doesn't seem possible, okay, since I have all the terms, I can see right now them. I'm just gonna write it down what the A is gonna be equal, and then what the B is gonna be equal. But you know the process, right? We just need to solve the linear system of equation. You need to find out A and B from that linear system of equation. And my yp from here is going to be equal e to the 4t negative 7 over 25 cosine t, and then plus 1 over 25 sine t. My homogeneous part of the solution was equal this one, c1 e to the 6t plus c2 e to the t. And my general solution from these two parts, right, is going to be equal yp plus yh. This is the rule 4 in undetermined coefficient technique.